I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite topics today, which is money. Money, 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 specifically money when it comes to dating a man, and how a woman, how you should never, ever be giving a man money for any reason. This is a topic that has come up so many times, both in my academy program, my paid program for women, but also in my free group. And this time it came up in my free group, my free Facebook group, where a woman had given a man money. I'm not even going to go into the details of why. Something about he had paid for a bunch of other stuff and she's paying back for this one thing or something. Or it felt guilty about it, I think. And she was not knowing if she did the right thing, if it was masculine, if it's going to cause issues. And yes, it is going to cause issues. I could literally write books on just this one topic and why it is so problematic, and why a woman doing this is pointing towards so many unresolved issues in herself, so much unresolved trauma. Now, you might think the idea of never giving a man money under any circumstances, that's really strict, like that's really extreme, that's so black and white, like that's so unfair. What if, you're dating a man, you've been dating for a year, and he's really down on his luck and he lost his job and he'd already done all of these things for you? Look, we're going to be talking about all of this, and I might end up just making a whole bunch of videos on this, because until you can really grasp this issue, you're not going to understand your feminine self-worth and how fundamentally different men and women are, and how to inspire a man by being the feminine woman that you are meant to be. Now, you don't need to do all this other crap like ever giving a man money. So, hello, I am Zach Rohde. I am here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams by learning how to inspire a man into cherishing you with your feminine energy and with what I call feminine communication. If you've not yet subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that below, hit the notification bell, and be sure to like this video, because I'm going to make sure it's a good one for you. No, it's going to be better than good. It's going to be amazing. And if you would like to learn how to inspire a man to claim you and cherish you as his woman, be sure to open up the description below this video. All of my offers are there, but one that's a really good to start with is thedreamrelationship.com. That is my free webinar where I'm going to show you about all of your control patterns that are sabotaging your love life and what you can do about it to inspire a man to take care of you the way that you need and deserve as a woman. All right, back to money and why you should never give a man money. One of the things that men and women have been so brainwashed with and indoctrinated with today is because of the whole feminist movement. Feminism is BS. If you haven't realized, if you followed my videos before, I'm sure you're fully aware that it's BS. Now, I'm not saying that women and men shouldn't have equal rights. That's totally different. We're talking about what feminism is actually about, which is so much more than that. It's about basically treating men and women as the same, and not recognizing the fundamental differences that we have as men and women. Our differences go so far beyond our skin, our genitals, what we look like on the outside. We're actually way more different internally than we are externally. We have different programming. A man fundamentally, at his core, has a masculine instinct. That might be buried, right? It might be suppressed, but every man has one. That's what he runs on, a masculine instinct, which is to provide, it's to protect, it is to cherish, it is to lead, it is to teach. Every woman has a feminine instinct, very different. It is to follow. There's nothing wrong with following. That doesn't make a woman less than. Following is just as difficult as leading. You can be a bad follower, but I'm talking about being a good follower. So following, it's like submitting to a man, to a devoted man. It's being able to receive. It's being able to be open and vulnerable and soft. This is just as important as the man's role, but it's fundamentally different. Part of a man's role is provision. Now, there's a lot that goes into provision. Provision is leading, it's correcting, it's teaching, it's setting boundaries, it's protecting, it's complimenting, it's everything that a man is giving his woman. It's also giving her attention, it's giving her time, it's planning, it's initiating. That's all provision. Part of provision is financial. It's taking care of a woman financially. What makes this a little bit more complicated, we'll call it gray area, is a lot of women today are working. They're able to fully take care of themselves. Whereas, 100 years ago, it was a very different story. And so many women and men today think like, oh, like, why should men and women be so different? If we're both able to take care of ourselves financially, why should the man be the one that's paying for all the dates? And if a man is able to give a woman money when she needs it, why can't a woman give a man money when he needs it? On the surface, that makes sense. It's a very good inquiry. There's a lot of reasoning behind it. I'm gonna go into a bit of it. I could literally talk about this all day. Part of it is this: understand whether or not a woman wants to have children, and regardless as well as her age, she's programmed to be aware of her biological clock, which means she's got a limited amount of time to have children and reproduce her genes. And so this is part of what has created this courting, the courting process, right? Where it's the man that's leading. He's the one that's taking out the woman, getting to know her, find out if, well, ideally the way it's supposed to be, find out if she has marriage potential, and then claim her in marriage. He is using up her time. Okay. And of course, he's using up his own time as well, but he's got a lot more time than a woman does. And he's the one that's leading, right? He's the one that is responsible for this courting process. At any time, he could choose to end it. And if a man is truly masculine, if he's dominant, then he's ultimately going to be the chooser the whole way through. Women will often think like, I'm the chooser before sex. And with a truly dominant man, the man is choosing every step of the way. That doesn't mean that a woman is having sex when she doesn't want to, okay? Don't go there. It's not about that. What I'm saying is the man is so attractive to the woman that all of this becomes his choice. If he wants to marry her, yeah, she's going to love that, right? So she's going along with his leadership. She's using up her time to go along with his leadership with faith and or trust that the man is using her time wisely. We could call this investing in her. I don't really like the term because it's not actually an investment. Like, it's consumption, like spending all this money on dates. That's consumption, but it's more about indicating interest. It's showing her that he is serious about her, that he is taking her time seriously. Because usually, not saying always, especially if a man is super loaded and money isn't a big deal at all, usually a man isn't going to spend a ton of money on a woman if he sees no future with her. Now, a lot of men will spend some amount of money on a woman to have sex with her. That's a bit of a separate topic. But when it comes to, long-term spending time with a woman, he's not going to want to throw money into a black hole. Because what's the point? Especially because a woman really shouldn't be having sex with a man until he's fully claimed her in every way. I'm not judging you or blaming you or shaming you if you don't do that. But I am saying that it's really not a good idea for you to have sex with a man outside of true commitment. And it's just going to end up you getting hurt. So him being the one that is providing through this, understand he is paying for your time. And I don't mean this like, I don't want women to build up like an entitlement around this, because there's a lot of women that will say a lot of the same things that I do, including a lot of women coaches, but they're coming at it from a very different angle. They're coming at it from this entitlement angle. Men who feel this entitlement towards sex, like, if I paid for a dinner, she should be sleeping with me. That's the way that a lot of women approach this issue where a man should be paying for dates. I will say that he should be. I will use the word should. You as a woman should not be using the word should, because as soon as you start going into this should stuff, you're going into judgments. You're going into your head. You're going into conceptualizing this. You're going into this entitlement and expectations rather than focusing in your body and your needs. What I am helping you do, if you're not fully in touch with this need, is to get more aware of it. Like, your need is to be provided for, even if you can provide for yourself. Unless you got some really big wounds around this, it should feel good for you for a man to financially take care of you. Like imagine, let's just say you have a job, okay? You have a job, you make $100,000 a year. You know, for many women listening to this, that would be fantastic. Way more than you make. But let's say you make $100,000 a year, and this man comes around and he makes, I don't know, $150,000 a year. And he doesn't let you pay for anything. He takes you out on all of these great dates. He plans everything for you. He is the one that's initiating everything, initiating contact, setting up all the plans, and he's even helping out in some ways. Like maybe he's taking you out for a nail day to get your nails done. Or maybe he's, I don't know, paying for some other thing that he doesn't have to. By the way, those extra expenses like nail days, that's a bonus, okay? I'm not saying a man has to do that, but if he does do, that's fantastic. You're going to feel great if he does that. Now, if you have really low self-worth, you might also feel a lot of shame, like that you're not deserving of that, and that's something that you have to heal. That's something that I can help you heal if you have that. But underneath that, if you have that, once you heal that, you'll just feel really good. It's like, wow, there's just so much safety. This man has a plan. He's able to take care of me. He wants to take care of me. This feels so great. Now I can just let go and receive. What's happening there is that's your feminine instinct. You are being provided for, and it feels so good. It doesn't feel so good in the reverse. And yes, I'm painting an extreme right now. We'll get to more of the gray area stuff. It doesn't feel good in the reverse, where imagine that you were the one taking out a man. You were making all the plans. You were the one that was paying for dates. You were the one that was chipping in for his bills or whatever. He might, if his masculine instinct isn't really online, he might enjoy it, where it's like, oh, good, like some free money. Because who doesn't enjoy free money? There's something nice about having more money than less money, of course. But energetically, if his instinct is online, his masculine instinct, he's not going to enjoy that. That's not going to feel good for him. Because what you're doing is you're in the masculine role and you are providing for him. You are taking care of him instead of the way that it should be. And then, of course, more of the gray areas, like that's the polarized version. Like one's really in their masculine, one's really in their feminine. What's often more common is that it's like roommate syndrome. You're both kind of masculine and feminine. You're both kind of providing for each other. You're taking care of each other. You're leading sometimes. He's leading, all this stuff. And that's going to destroy the polarity. And with the polarity being destroyed, that's going to destroy the attraction. It's not going to be sustainable. It's not. That doesn't mean it can't still be functional long term, right? Big difference between functional and sustainable as far as like really high levels of attraction and connection. What is sustainable is when a man is fully taking care of you long term. Now, by the way, just a very short note on this. In marriage, there's some differences, right? Like my wife now, she's fully taken care of. She takes care of our daughter and the house and everything. But when she was working, what we did is, I was still in charge of all the money. I would just take it all. I would invest it. I'd manage it. I'd pay the bills. And I would give her an allowance, which was definitely less than her entire budget. Now, a lot of really entitled women, including women coaches, will be like, no, the woman should be able to keep her whole salary and the man should, his money is also her money. That's total BS, right? That's why you can't listen to masculinized women with advice about anything that has to do with relationships. In a healthy polarized relationship where the woman chooses to work, and now she doesn't choose to, and I don't really want her to work either, and I led her to quit, the woman should be giving her paycheck over to the man to manage, because she, if you don't trust a man to do that, why'd you marry him in the first place? That doesn't make any sense. You trusted him enough to get married to him. You might have trusted him enough to have kids with him. Why wouldn't you trust him to best manage your money? That way, you just get to relax. You just get this free spending money. You don't have to care what you do with it. You could flush it down the toilet. You could spend it all on a spa or nails. Totally selfish. Doesn't matter. It's for you. Anyway, that's a side point. Back to the dating process. We're talking about before a man marries you. And by the way, a man who's been living with you for 2 years and for some reason has not put a ring on your finger, you are not married to him. You are still dating. It's just turned into this non-courting thing where now you're just comfortable roommates who are having sex with each other. That's a really big problem in itself. I'm not going to go on a tangent on that, but it's definitely a problem too. The way that a courting process should be is that the man is fully paying for everything that is involved in his interaction with you, which means paying for whatever transportation to go see each other, paying for the restaurants, paying for all of this. And understand, you can't, just like you can't ask masculinized women for advice without getting really bad advice, you can't get advice from emasculated men. If you listen to this video and you're like, oh yeah, this sounds good, I'm going to go ask my male friends to see what they say about this, and then they contradict what I say, all that's communicating is those men are emasculated, and it's not good to get advice from them. You need to get informed. You need to surround yourself with men whose instincts are fully online, who know how to truly take care of a woman. Otherwise, you're going to get misled. So, a man whose masculine instinct is online is going to want to fully provide for everything. He's going to want to. It's going to feel good for him. And it's going to feel bad for him if you pay for anything, and he's going to decline. He's not going to accept it. It's like, no, you put that back in your pocket. As an analogy, it would be like, I got a 2.5-year-old daughter. Let's just say she was like 8 and making lemonade, making some money from lemonade stands. And I'm like, she tries to give me some money. Am I going to take that? You put that back in your pocket. You go spend that on, toys or whatever. That's 100% for you. That's not to say a woman is a child, and that's not to devalue what she's doing for work, which is probably a lot more than making some lemonade at a lemonade stand, but it's the same dynamic. My child is there for me to take care of. My wife is there for me to take care of as the masculine leader. Now, with my wife, there are some differences too, because a woman is taking care of a man, but in a different way. It's just not financial. My wife cooks for me, for example. So you could call that taking care of me, but energetically it's different. She's actually following my leadership with making my life around the household easier so that I can do what I need to do best, which is go make money and provide and plan and do all of this other stuff. Okay? If a woman believes that taking care of a man in any way involves financially giving him money, she's not in her self-worth. A woman who's fully in her feminine self-worth knows that she never has to give a man money. Ever. For any reason. I made a post about this. It's like, unless a man is holding you at gunpoint and threatening to kill you, if you don't give him money, then don't give him money for any reason. It doesn't matter if he's in debt. It doesn't matter if he loses his job. It doesn't matter. Any of that stuff. There could always be a valid reason. And women are like, oh, but what about this situation? No, don't do it. Unless he's married, unless you're married, because in that case, he should be managing the money anyway. And if he's not, then there's a problem there. So if you are not married, if you are dating a man and something bad, let's just say something bad happens, like he loses his job. If you see a future with him, then you need to be able to trust him and have enough faith in him that he will figure out his life and get himself back on his feet without you. Because if he needs you financially to get back on his feet, then that's the kind of relationship that you are signing yourself up for. You're not going to be able to fully rely on that kind of man. You're not going to be able to fully trust that kind of man. You're going to always have in the back of your mind the idea that, I might have to step up into being his mother if I marry this man and have children with him. That's not going to feel good, because your job is to be a mother to your actual children while your man takes care of you. Your man takes care of you to free up your energy and time and responsibilities so that you can take care of the children. This is why, or this is a big part of why we have this masculine and feminine program in the first place. This is why we're fundamentally different. This is why we don't just both have masculine instincts and we're both just masculine together, right? A woman is naturally designed both biologically as well as instinctually to be able to best take care of children. Like young children. That doesn't mean that a man shouldn't be doing any of the parenting. Of course he should. But that should mostly fall on the woman, which makes sense. Like, I don't have boobs to be able to give breast milk. And so those first few years especially, it just makes sense. And this, like, understand, even if you're done having children or you don't want children or whatever, all of this still holds true because our instincts are still there, regardless of what our external circumstances are. So if you go into the providing role, you're basically telling him, I don't trust you to be able to handle yourself. If, let's just say I wasn't married to my wife, but my instinct was as online as it is now, and it wasn't when I was dating my wife. If I fell under hard times, the last person I would ever come to is my wife. There's a lot of things I could do before that. I could ask my parents. I could ask my friends. I could take a loan from the bank. I could, I don't know, do blood draws or something for money. So, just find a really quick odd job. This is about resourcefulness. A really resourceful man, even if something bad happens, he's going to be able to get back on his feet very quickly. And you are robbing him. You are robbing him of that opportunity to grow as a man, to be more resourceful, to increase his level of agency, his masculine confidence, when you take care of him financially in any kind of way. This is not about being selfish. This is not about being a gold digger. This is about you being in your feminine self-worth and knowing that your feminine gifts are just very different than his masculine gifts. You don't need to ever give him a penny to be worthy of his care. Now, of course, you can hear this, but that doesn't mean that a man that you date will have the same view, and then you're going to be in a situation where you might feel like dishonoring your heart because he totally disagrees with this and maybe judges you for this or whatever. There can be all these situations that come up. Now, of course, you could just leave that man, but this could actually be repaired and you could work through this if you knew how to use feminine communication, if you knew how to shift all of your control patterns and inspire him into being the kind of man that you want. And look, if you're not fully in your self-worth, if you don't know feminine communication, there's a very good chance that you're going to attract a man who doesn't believe what I believe about this. You're not going to attract the most masculine men on the earth. That's okay. You can learn how to shift that and learn how to inspire a man that you do attract into becoming that kind of man. But you need feminine communication. You need to shift in your feminine self-worth. You need to be in your feminine energy. You need to know how to be in your feminine role to learn how to attract and inspire a man into being his masculine best for you, which means fully financially providing for you and never wanting a penny from you. If you'd like some help from me to learn how to do that, then go below this video, open up the description. All of my links are there to all of my offers. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. It includes my academy, my masterclass, my dating course. And if you would like to learn more about this work and you're not ready to pay me anything, go to thedreamrelationship.com. In those links, that's my women's webinar to learn how to shift out of these control patterns that are keeping you stuck so that you can learn how to inspire a man into taking care of you.